My narcissistic older sister tried to seduce my fiancé before our wedding. She got caught on camera and ended up getting disowned by our parents. This story's about my older sister, who we'll call Sierra. She's 29 now, and to put it simply, she's always had it out for me. For some reason, she's convinced I've been living a life I didn't earn or deserve. At the moment, she's divorced, unemployed, and living back at home with our parents. She dropped out of college to chase after some wealthy guy, but he eventually dumped her once he saw what she was really like. Growing up, Sierra and I never had that close sibling bond. She was the golden child, the pretty one, the smart one, and definitely the one who knew it. My parents were always hyping her up. No matter what happened, they'd side with her, which left me feeling constantly like I didn't measure up. Everyone always gushed over how beautiful she was, while I just kind of faded into the background. And she knew that. She'd twist that knife every chance she got, making little comments like, "No one actually likes you." Those kinds of remarks stuck with me and seriously messed with my confidence. My parents never stepped in, never really acknowledged my side of things. Since Sierra was the one checking all their boxes, they overlooked everything else, especially me. So I started pulling away from them as a kid and just stopped trying to be close. She'd constantly invite her friends over whenever our parents were working. They'd take over the whole house, including my room, and sometimes straight up trashed my stuff. One time, they ruined a school project of mine, and I almost failed because of it. I wanted to tell Mom, but Sierra threatened me. She said if I snitched, she'd share some embarrassing photos of me with my classmates. I was 14 at the time, and that scared the life out of me. Honestly, telling my parents wouldn't have helped anyway. They barely paid attention. She pulled a lot of awful stunts over the years, and I ended up resenting her for it. Mom never defended me, though once in a while Dad would say something. One time I told him about how she crossed a line, and in revenge, she grabbed my phone and sent weird photos of me to my group chat. Then, to top it off, she spilled coffee all over my prom dress and cried her way out of it like it was just an accident. After that, I stopped going to Dad for help, too. I couldn't understand why she had so much hate toward me, but over time, I came to realize she was just a textbook narcissist. It was never really about me at all. She was the kind of person who cheated in every relationship she was in. And yeah, I hate saying it, but she chased men for money. One of her exes is actually still friends with me, which kind of says it all. She was awful as a teenager, and nothing changed as she got older. Her behavior only got worse. Honestly, I blame my parents. They never tried to discipline her or teach her right from wrong. Anyway, after high school, my life started to turn around. I worked my tail off to get into the college I dreamed about for years. It wasn't easy, but I made it. A few years after graduating, I landed a job I genuinely loved. And that's where I met Ryan, the man who'd end up becoming my fiancé. He's smart, kind, and yeah, also pretty easy on the eyes. We hit it off right away and started dating a few months after we met. We loved traveling, vacations, road trips, little hikes together. All of it just brought us closer. Ryan was super close with his siblings, so he introduced me to his family pretty early on. But when it came to introducing him to my family, that took me a lot longer. And the main reason for that delay was Sierra. I had a gut feeling that she'd try to sabotage something if she met Ryan. She was used to being the one who got everything, the attention, the admiration, the praise. And now, suddenly, I was the one in a happy relationship with my life on track. I knew she wouldn't take that well. Still, I couldn't keep putting it off forever. After a year and a half, Ryan started asking questions about why he hadn't met my parents. So I finally talked to my dad about him, and surprisingly, he was happy for me. He even invited us over for dinner. I wanted to be excited, but the thought of Sierra being there made me anxious. Ryan already knew the basics about my family, but I gave him the full picture about her. The manipulation, the history, everything. He was chill about it and said not to worry, that he could handle her. Then, just a few days after I called Dad, I got a call from Sierra out of the blue. That alone was weird. She never calls me. She asked a bunch of questions about Ryan, like when I was planning to visit home and what he was like. I figured my mom must have told her that I was seeing someone serious. Suddenly, Sierra was acting all interested in my life, trying to play nice. But I knew exactly what she was doing. Her curiosity wasn't innocent. I could feel it. I started wondering if introducing Ryan to her was even worth the risk. I thought about maybe asking my parents to come over to my place instead. Update 1. Thanks for all the advice so far. Really appreciate it. Some folks wanted to know more about Sierra, so here's a bit of backstory. After her divorce, my dad's attitude toward her shifted. He saw through a lot of her behavior and was less quick to defend her. But honestly, she kind of brought it on herself. Back in the day, Sierra was actually great in school. But the second she hit college, everything changed. She started caring more about her looks and image than anything else. She got involved with this guy, we'll call him Ethan. He came from money, and once she met him, her education took a back seat. Meanwhile, I was grinding hard, prepping for college entrance exams during my final year of high school. Sierra would constantly tell me I'd never make it to my dream school. But I did. And for the first time, I felt like I made my parents genuinely proud. They were happy, even celebrated my achievement by throwing a small party with close friends and family. That probably didn't sit well with Sierra. During the party, she decided to hijack the moment by announcing her engagement to Ethan, completely out of nowhere. Judging by Ethan's face, he didn't even see it coming, but she got what she wanted. All eyes back on her. From that point on, everyone was buzzing about her engagement, especially since Ethan apparently wealthy. She would flaunt the expensive stuff he bought her, waving it in my face, saying things like, "You'll never land a rich guy. No one wants someone who looks like you." It stung, but I pushed back. I told her I wasn't out to marry a wallet, that I'd rather support myself than rely on some guy's money. That didn't stop her, though. She just kept going. To this day, I still think she's one of the most selfish people I've ever known. A week after that stunt, Sierra and Ethan actually did get engaged. I was already off at college by then and chose not to attend. College was a bit of a breather for me. I barely talked to her, and since she was living with Ethan at the time, visiting home actually felt peaceful for once. Even during the holidays, Sierra would jet off to these luxury getaways with Ethan. A year into dating, they got married in a huge, over-the-top wedding. Naturally, Ethan footed most of the bill. My dad chipped in a little, more out of formality than anything, since Sierra wasn't earning a dime. That marriage didn't last long. 3 years in, they got divorced. From what I heard, one of the biggest reasons was that Sierra didn't want kids, while Ethan was eager to start a family. He told me he never pressured her or anything. But what really hurt him was that she strung him along for years, never being honest about it. On top of that, he opened up about her partying habits, constantly flirting with random guys at bars, and the fact that she was never emotionally invested in the marriage. She just liked his money. I couldn't help but wonder how he didn't see it sooner. Ethan even showed me videos. Sierra out drinking, getting touchy-feely with guys, not even trying to stop them. It was honestly hard to watch. But good for him that he finally cut ties. Of course, my parents didn't see it that way. They totally took Sierra's side and blamed Ethan for pressuring her into wanting kids. They refused to acknowledge how much of the damage was actually her doing. After the divorce, Sierra moved back in with my parents. With no college degree and no job history, she had nowhere else to go. She acted like the divorce left her shattered, but in reality, she looked completely unbothered, even relieved. Within weeks, she was right back to clubbing and hooking up. Her life revolved around going out, dating random guys, ghosting them, and repeating the cycle. I didn't need to ask questions. Her Instagram stories said it all. A couple years into my career, I finally landed the job I'd always dreamed about. Great pay, an amazing team. My parents were thrilled. When I visited home to share the news, Dad was glowing with pride. It felt good for once to be the one they were proud of. We were in the middle of dinner when Sierra strolled in, clearly tipsy. Dad wasn't impressed. He told her straight up that maybe if she'd taken her education more seriously instead of chasing after Ethan, she wouldn't be where she was now. He brought up how much I was making and how Sierra was still financially dependent on them. Mom immediately told him to stop making comments like that, but the damage was done. Sierra totally lost it, slammed her bedroom door shut like a teenager. That was the moment I saw something shift in my dad. I think he finally realized how much they'd let her get away with. He told Mom it was time for Sierra to grow up, get her act together, and stop living off them. Apparently, Sierra overheard that conversation. Later that night, she came into my room, all smug, and said I could never be like her, no matter how much I earned. Then she straight up body shamed me, pointing at my stomach and my cheeks. A few years ago, that would have wrecked me. But now, I just laughed. I told her, good, I don't want to be like you. And yeah, that hit a nerve. She flipped, told me to get out of the house. I looked her dead in the eye and said, this is our parents' home. You don't get to throw anyone out. The next morning, while I was packing up to leave, I noticed 2 of my dresses had been slashed, like actually cut with scissors. I went straight downstairs and showed my parents what she'd done. Dad was furious. He called for Sierra, ready to rip into her. Mom, as always, tried to cover for her, saying she was still emotionally unstable from the divorce. Dad wasn't having it this time. He told Mom to stay out of it and turned to Sierra, laying down the law. He told her she needed to get her life together, that he wasn't going to keep supporting her or enabling her narcissistic behavior. Sierra didn't take that well, and from then on, she made it her mission to hate me even more. I didn't let it get to me, not until she crossed a line I couldn't ignore. She tried to come on to my boyfriend. That was the last straw. After a lot of thinking and talking it over with Ryan, I decided it was time. We were going to visit my parents together. I figured there was no point in hiding him from Sierra anymore. She was going to find a way to insert herself eventually, no matter what I did. My friends actually encouraged me to go through with it, said it was better to see how Ryan handled her now than be surprised later. So, yeah, we went, and just as I feared, she pounced. The moment we walked in, Ryan was saying hello to Mom and Dad when Sierra all but lunged at him for a hug. She dyed her hair jet black, had her nails done, was dressed like she was heading out on a date, not hosting her sister and her boyfriend. It was painfully obvious she was trying to impress him. During dinner, she practically sprinted to sit next to him. I asked her to switch seats, told her I wanted to sit there, and she shot me a dirty look before moving. Then came the fake bonding. Every time Ryan mentioned an interest, Sierra would chime in with, "Oh my gosh, same!" Like suddenly she was into everything he liked, even when I knew she wasn't. She kept throwing out little comments about how they had so much in common, even winked at me like it was all some big joke, but it wasn't funny. It was awkward. Ryan barely acknowledged her. He just kept the conversation going with my parents, trying his best to ignore her. After dinner, I went to shower and Ryan stayed in the living room. That's when Sierra made her next move. She walked in and asked him to call her number, said she lost her phone and needed help finding it. Obviously, she was just trying to get his number saved into her phone. Gross. Later, he told me she'd also tried playing the sympathy card, talking about how her divorce wrecked her emotionally, how hard it's been, and how no one really understands her. Mom even joined in, throwing Jeremy under the bus right along with her. At one point, Ryan asked if I wanted to go for a walk and show him around the neighborhood. I was about to say yes when Sierra jumped in with, "I'll come too." Ryan looked at her, surprised, and said, "Actually, I was hoping to get some alone time with her." You should have seen her face. She went beet red and stormed off to her room. It's only been a few days since that visit, and honestly, I'm still on edge. I wouldn't put it past Sierra to try something even more extreme to win Ryan over. As much as I trust him, I'm also watching closely because I know her, and this isn't over. Sierra started texting Ryan, checking in like she actually cared about how he was doing. Since Ryan's a big cat lover, she suddenly turned into the world's biggest cat fan. She'd flood his inbox with cute cat videos, acting like she was obsessed with them. Funny thing is, she never gave a damn about animals before. But the second she found out Ryan liked cats, she ran out and got one herself. Then came the staged videos, her cuddling the cat, baby talking it, all recorded and sent straight to Ryan. At first, Ryan showed me the messages. All those just checking in texts, fake concern about his job, pretending she was this kind-hearted soul. But after a few weeks, he stopped mentioning her messages at all. I figured maybe she finally gave up. We didn't bring her up anymore. Honestly, we had real things to deal with, like work, life, wedding planning. Then, one day, I was just casually scrolling through social media and noticed something strange. Sierra had added Ryan. Not only that, she was going through his entire profile, liking every post, old and new. Even posts from 7 to 10 years ago weren't safe. She left hearts and silly flirty emojis on almost all of them. Something about it felt off. So, yeah, I peeked at his phone. Turns out, she was still texting him, constantly. Most of the texts were unread, but they were weird, like she was trying way too hard to get his attention. And in the call logs, missed calls from her, even one at 3 a.m. That's when I really started to worry. I confronted Ryan right then, asked him why he hadn't told me she was still reaching out. He got flustered, said he didn't want to upset me, and figured ignoring her was the best way to make it stop. I pressed about the 3 a.m. call, and he stayed calm, sat me down, and explained everything. Apparently, Sierra had called late one night, crying and claiming she needed someone to talk to about all the trauma from her divorce. Ryan told her she needed to speak with her parents or a therapist, not him, especially not at that hour. He even told her that I should have been the first person to know. Even though he handled it well, I told him straight up. Keeping that for me didn't sit right. It chipped away at my trust. He apologized and promised me there was zero chance he'd ever fall for her games. But I've seen way too many stories where women like her slowly twist things and ruin relationships even when the guy tries to stay respectful. So I laid down the rule. If she ever called him again, he needed to pass the phone to me. And sure enough, one night, her name popped up. He woke me up and handed me the phone. I answered. There was silence. Then she heard my voice and quickly said it was a mistake, then hung up. The next day, I tried calling her multiple times to warn her off, but she didn't answer. So I texted her from Ryan's phone and told her it was me, and that she needed to stop contacting him, especially late at night. If something was urgent, she could call me, not him. After that, she went silent. No more texts, no calls. I actually felt that peace, like she was finally out of our relationship. Then, Ryan proposed. It was perfect. He planned a trip, dropped to one knee, and asked me to marry him. I was beyond excited and sent a photo of the ring to my dad. And that's probably how Sierra found out. Dad must have shown Mom, and Mom definitely told her. Because just like that, Sierra slithered back in. The texting resumed. The dumb videos started again. She was back to trying her little mind games. When Ryan told me she'd started up again, I snapped. I called her directly and unloaded everything I'd been holding in. Told her to stop with the manipulative garbage and get a life. She barely said a word, just stayed silent while I vented years of anger. But of course, that wasn't the end of it.
As soon as I hung up, my phone rang again. It was Mom, yelling at me. She was furious that I had insulted Sierra. Apparently, Sierra ran crying to her, claiming I was accusing her of trying to steal my fiancé. Mom started going off about how cruel and giving her daughter panic attacks. She said I should try being more sensitive to Sierra's depression and how hard the divorce had been on her. That was laughable. Sierra was never depressed about that divorce. If anything, she thrived after it. So I hung up, I called my dad, and told him straight. If they kept turning a blind eye to Sierra's behavior, I was done. I wasn't going to play the scapegoat in her drama anymore. I'd had enough. I didn't think she'd actually go this far. Sierra had always made my life miserable, the taunting, the body shaming, the constant need to undermine me, but trying to seduce my fiancé before our wedding, that was a whole new level.
We were slowly planning out our wedding, picking venues, sending invites, and I hadn't been speaking to Mom since our last argument. Then out of nowhere, she called me and apologized for snapping. She said she just panicked seeing Sierra have one of her episodes and lost control. Later, one of my cousins told me Sierra had been making the rounds, telling people I was accusing her of trying to steal my man. She was crying to anyone who would listen, saying I didn't deserve Ryan or my job or any of the good things happening in my life. In her mind, because she was the beautiful one, she deserved the best, not me. I told my mom about that, and she just went quiet. Then she told me to focus on my wedding and forget the drama. Everything moved forward from there. Sierra kept a low profile for a while, no texts, no interruptions. I thought maybe, just maybe, she was backing off. Then came the wedding day. We were at the venue getting ready for the ceremony when I got a call from Ryan's best friend. He asked me to come to Ryan's room and to bring my parents. I laughed and teased him, saying Ryan wasn't supposed to see the bride before the wedding. He didn't laugh. He said it was serious and couldn't wait. My heart dropped. I rushed over with my parents. What I saw hit me like a truck. Ryan was lying on the bed, shirtless, groggy, barely conscious. His groomsmen were frantic, explaining what had happened. Ryan had been getting ready when Sierra came in with a drink. He didn't want it, but she insisted. He finally took a sip, then realized something was wrong. The drink was spiked. He went straight to the bathroom, locked the door, and called his best friend for help. By the time his friend made it into the room, Ryan had already passed out outside the bathroom. Thankfully, his friend had a shared key to the room. He rushed in and, thinking quick, turned on his phone camera and started recording, just in case. Ryan's friend said he heard him yelling at Sierra to leave him alone. Well, she was on top of him, undressing and rubbing herself against him. The whole disgusting scene got caught on video. When she noticed his friend there, she pretended like they were just making out, quickly covered herself, and walked out of the room. She didn't realize she'd already been recorded. Before leaving, she even smirked and told him not to tell anyone. When we arrived, Ryan was still partially unconscious, lying there without a shirt. That drink really messed him up. Just a few sips and he was dizzy, nauseous, and out of it. You could see solid stuff settled at the bottom of the glass. My parents were mortified. They couldn't believe Sierra would do something this horrible. Mom called her up to Ryan's room. She walked in with smudged lipstick and didn't even look sorry. First thing she said was, "I know you're all mad, but it was mutual." She claimed Ryan was into her from the start and said he asked her for a one-time hookup before the wedding. That's when Mom slapped her and told her we already knew what really happened. It had all been caught on camera. Sierra looked stunned. My parents had her removed from the venue right away to stop her from making any more scenes. Security was told not to let her back in.
She clearly wanted people to believe she and Ryan were hooking up so I'd call off the wedding. Dad called a doctor who confirmed the drink had been spiked. Ryan's family were furious. They were ready to go after Sierra themselves, and it took a full apology from my parents just to calm them down.
The wedding had to be delayed until Ryan recovered. He was throwing up for hours trying to get the stuff out of his system. Word spread fast. The guests had already started talking. Eventually, Ryan got better, and we were able to go through with it. My dad walked me down the aisle. I was happy to marry him, but deep down, I was still shaken by everything that had happened. During the vows, Ryan added one extra promise to protect our relationship from anyone who tried to come between us. After the honeymoon, my parents visited and apologized to Ryan for everything Sierra had done. My dad promised us she was out of our lives for good. He'd kicked her out of their house and told her to take care of herself from now on. Even now, I still haven't fully processed what happened. My wedding day came this close to being ruined. And honestly, if Ryan's friend hadn't gotten that footage, I don't know if I would have ever believed that Ryan wasn't involved.